When did you have to prove your own mother was insane? My mother started surgically altering me to match my stillborn twin when I was 6, saying I needed to become him since I stole his chance at life by being born first. Mom was a pediatric nurse who'd lost 3 younger siblings in a house fire at 12. After Diego died during our birth, she kept his ultrasound photos everywhere and obsessed over what he would have looked like. She measured my features against his final scans constantly. Every morning she'd hold the pictures next to my face and mark differences with a red pen. I'd sit there frozen, trying not to cry because tears made the marks smear. When Dad died in a car accident 3 years later, her grief morphed into something darker. She'd been planning the procedures for months. I found the medical consultations later hidden in her files. That summer, she took me for my first surgery, claiming I had breathing problems. I remember screaming in the car that I could breathe fine, but she just turned the radio up louder. The surgeon broke and reset my nose to match Diego's ultrasound profile. "Now you look more like yourself," Mom said when the bandages came off. "Diego's nose was perfect, and now yours is too." I threw up when I saw my reflection. That wasn't my nose anymore. The surgeries continued every year like horrible birthdays I couldn't escape. A chin implant at 8 because Diego's jaw would have been stronger. I begged her to stop, said it hurt too much, but she held my hand and whispered Diego would have been brave. Ear pinning at 9 since his ears lay flatter in the scans. She bleached my brown hair monthly because Diego would have been blonde like Dad. When I cried from the burning, she'd say, "Beauty requires sacrifice, and Diego deserves beauty." I started hiding in closets when I heard her coming with the bleach bottle. School was hell. Kids called me Frankenstein and Plastic Boy. Teachers whispered about my changing face and asked careful questions. I wanted to scream the truth, but Mom had warned me about what happened to boys who lied. CPS came, but Mom had medical records claiming reconstructive needs. She'd convinced doctors I had undefined birth defects that needed correcting. By 5th grade, she was injecting growth hormones because Diego would have been taller. The shots made me throw up, but she said Diego wouldn't have been weak. I kept a photo of my original face hidden under my mattress and stared at it every night. My 13th birthday broke me completely. Mom scheduled double eyelid surgery, insisting Diego's eyes would have been rounder. The surgeon refused until Mom found another who needed money. That night I tried to run, but she'd installed locks that only opened from outside. I pounded on the windows until my fists bled. She turned our home into a medical prison. The hospital kept me for observation, but Mom convinced them I was having adjustment issues. Everything changed when I met Leon's sophomore year. His mom was a social worker who recognized abuse immediately. The first time she saw me, her face went pale, and she pulled me aside. "Honey, who did this to you?" I broke down crying in their kitchen. She let me stay over whenever Mom got bad. For months, I'd stare at myself in their mirror, trying to remember my original face. The guilt ate at me constantly. Was I betraying Diego by wanting to be myself? But then I'd remember I was never living as myself at all, just Mom's projection of Diego. Leon's mom helped me document everything secretly. Every surgery, every procedure, every bleaching session. We photographed the scars and collected the medical records Mom thought she'd hidden. The injection sites from the hormones that made me sick. The dental work to correct my smile. She'd even planned future surgeries in a notebook labeled Diego's completion. The final surgery would have been vocal cord adjustment. My hands shook when I read that. Mom found my escape fund hidden in Leon's room and completely lost it. "You're destroying him again." She grabbed my face so hard it left bruises. She tried to drag me to another consultation, but I fought back for the first time. I shoved her away and screamed, "I'm not Diego." Furniture broke, and neighbors called police when they heard screaming. I locked myself in the bathroom and called Leon's mom, who arrived with emergency custody papers. Mom went nuclear. She called police claiming I was violent and delusional. The betrayal in her voice when she said he's rejecting his own brother made me want to vomit. At the hearing, I sat there shaking while the judge listened to her testimony. Her doctor friends nodded along, supporting her claims. The gavel was already rising when my social worker burst in. When the surgeons testified about unnecessary procedures, I finally let myself cry. The judge granted emancipation 3 weeks before I turned 17. Mom's last words to me were, "Diego would have stayed." I work 2 jobs now to afford therapy. Sometimes I catch myself apologizing to Diego's photo, then remember he never knew I existed.